Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2018 Career Mode episode number 82. We're at the Tour of Utah. Ready to get things rolling on this one. Stage 1. Pretty punchy. Fair few bit of climbs to do. And I've got some guys right near the top. So we could have ourselves a fairly good race here. Brought a pretty strong team to this one. Conchi, Hamilton, Osorio, all here. And other teams not as well prepared. So this would be pretty disappointing if we're not able to get a result here at Tour of Utah. I think we should be... potentially. I mean, we'll have to see everyone who's here first, but I think we could and should be in a pretty strong position to go for the overall race win. Alright, field just starting to splinter off a little bit, not much yet. And we're going to go get water one last time because we still have 60 kilometers to go. We're at the second of 4 categorized climbs. We're about to hit the top. Breakaway started with about a dozen riders. It's down to 9. One more of those has been dropped, so it's down to 8 with one man in the no man's land in between chasing. Meanwhile, that water is on its way, so we'll be done with that here soon. But I also do have a fair number of riders who are quite fatigued, with one short but steep and then one longer and steeper climb to come, meaning we're definitely not going to have everybody making it to the end. Peloton down to 89, and it is going to shrink quite a bit more. The water task is now done for the day. Let's get everyone also fit to hang in there for the rest of the stage as best as possible and not get dropped by the group unless it's due to fatigue. Looking at the team, it is just about all strong climbers. Veldman, one example of one that's not so strong. He's got a bit of punch to him. He's good on the flat, so he'll serve as a good domestique, a really good domestique for this race. I mean, he's often in scenarios where he is the team leader. Cohen, another one, just a 65 in the mountains, 67 in the hills, so very much a domestique, but he's got good resistance, okay on the flat.
There's a growing number of riders left behind. The pack is increasing its work rate. Some teams can't be happy with the breakaway.
And as we get over the top on that one, Peloton shrinks a little bit further, down to 70. And the breakaway is fairly well shattered. That'll make catching them a bit easier. The other guy who's in the support role right now, DeVos. This is awesome because a 72-72 base for mountains and hills as your third weakest rider is going to give us a real advantage in this race. There is one strong, high average mountain capable guy that's going to be difficult to beat for the overall. Who's going backwards? Why are we going backwards, guys? Come on. Just 54 left now. 5 remaining off the front. Those front 2 actually still have a pretty decent gap at 2 minutes, but this climb should take care of that for the most part. Cohen is done, so it is Swerble who is left to then pick up Hamilton. And Cohen, set you to auto. We'll keep an eye on Cohen at least for a little bit here, just to see where the field is, how many guys are struggling. You can see this whole group around Cohen. All but a couple of them are sliding backwards. So it looks like we're about to lose another 8 to 10 riders. Pace not too bad though, considering they have not been dropped yet. There's still 7K to go to the top, at least from Cohen's point of view. Only 2 riders left off the front, and they've splintered. There you go. 11 are dropped, 39 left in the peloton, and there's definitely another group on the verge. Now, everybody else besides Cohen is still hanging in there. Swerble surprisingly a little tired. DeVos and Veldeman hanging in there. Veldeman, you would imagine, will be the next one to go. I'm not sure why Swerble is so tired. He does have a -1 race day condition, so that is most likely a factor. I feel like we could actually put a hurting on the peloton right now, but today is honestly not the day to destroy the field. It's not going to do a whole lot of good. There's going to be time for riders to get back on. I don't want to waste half my team to push to the end to drop 10 more guys, with half of those that are dropped out of that 10 being half my guys. Just one rider left off the front. He's still got a minute and a half. Who is it? Khalid. Khalid, the one left off the front. He's got a good little gap there, and nobody's chasing terribly hard at the moment. Maybe it is time to put a little pressure on. 1.7k to the top. We could cover this gap really quickly. Let's do this. Hamilton, Osorio, Conchi. I don't care too much about the order here, but DeVos. Swerble, Veldeman. I know there's that -1/+2 thing going on here, but Veldeman is not that good in the mountains. We will burn a couple guys. He's great on the flat, though. Let's put this back up. I'm going to do this. Let's go ahead and use up Swerble. And then we'll use Veldeman on the flat, who, unlike Swerble, has a great flat rating. And if Swerble still happens to be there, he can do the long descent, because he does have a great descending capability. And that big acceleration did drop 5 riders off the back, and it did immediately cut out 20 seconds from the gap. But Swerble, yeah, he's not going to last any longer. So sorry, my friend. And now it's up to Veldeman, and we're going to continue to push the tempo for a bit. Veldeman, good on the flat, so you should be able to put in pretty good time here through this section. Continue closing that gap down. Let's make sure that guy does not go off and win the stage and claim the jersey on day 1 and have himself a hefty little gap. Now Veldeman, okay on descents, so is DeVos though, so it's okay. And these guys are definitely going to play the role of domestique. I don't need everyone up there in time. I'm not that greedy. But with 26k to go, DeVos is going to be taken over here in just a moment. Little uphill swing here. So we can put a little more pressure on. There's our guy. And we've caught him. Veldeman. So Swerble got dropped. And we're over the top. 24k to go, but most of it is going to be a very quick descent here. Meanwhile, Peloton shrinking a little further down to 30. But like I said, wasting half my team. That's already 2, a third, so 3 out of 6 potentially lost here as we thin this out by, well, so far 9. Veldeman is recovering and still in the group. So let's go ahead and get him back here behind DeVos. Veldeman back into position. Go ahead and pull it back up there. Good job on your recovery there. 16k to go.
We've got 15 kilometers to the finish line.
We don't need to go 91 anymore.
A rider has fallen, and he's not getting back up. It looks like he'll have to abandon the race. What's going on? Several riders are flat on the ground.
Miguel Bryan and others crashing. Miguel Bryan, one of my sprinters. In my 19 career mode. 29 left. So we're keeping a little subtle pressure on here. Some of these riders would have had time to recover on the descent. 10k to go.
riders are entering the last 10 kilometers.
Now, do I have anyone capable of winning the sprint? Veldeman is the only one who would be in contention for the stage win, which means maybe I should protect him now. Let's go ahead and put him to the back. I know, Veldeman, you just keep shuffling, don't you? But we had you ready for the descent. Oh, we're back up to 32, so those 3 riders actually caught back up to us, even at the pace we're currently running, 5.7. These guys ready. DeVos is about to be done, and we're about to take over. DeVos, let's go auto, see if you can hang on. Don't get dropped. 3.7. 3.3.
It's been announced that a rider is withdrawing.
Oh, withdrawal. Okay, Conchi accelerating. 2K to go. Osorio, you're gonna sprint. You got 75 acceleration.
It's going to be very fast.
Hamilton, sprint. Just a few hundred meters for you. I'll take it to about 800. Okay, 700's good. Now we sprint all. And Veldeman, you could take this if there's no sprinters around you. And we're going to get a 1-2. Veldeman and Hamilton.
He really had to fight for that one.
That's good, especially for Hamilton, as he's a favorite for the overall. So, stage win. Time bonus for our leader in second, not in first.
The race is run, but the
31 riders left at the end, so we just shattered a lot of those in contention. DeVos loses time, not a big deal. Swerble, Cohen, again, totally fine with that. Great start to the race. Stage number 2. There's only 2 categorized climbs, and they're both really short, and they're really not very steep. But what makes this stage somewhat or even fairly difficult is the fact that roughly half of the stage is one long, continuous climb. Half the stage. Oh, and that half of that stage, this is one of those monster classic style stages. It's about 230 kilometers in length beginning to end, meaning it's 110, 115 straight kilometers of climbing. We're at 5% right now. It's not steep, but the 5% gradient I have right now, it's probably pretty similar to the gradient we're going to see, 3 to 5% throughout. But 110 kilometers of 3 to 5% gradient just wears and wears and wears and wears on the legs. We have a monster group at the front today. 16 riders in the break. They're starting to split on themselves, attacking the sprint point, but they immediately get back together. They had a 5-minute lead. We're already pulling them back, which means there's pace in the peloton that's not matched in the break, as we've pulled back 1.25 minutes and just about 1.5 minutes of that 5-minute lead. So if we are putting some pace, some tempo into this long chase on this gentle uphill slope that's going to last for over 100 kilometers, there's going to be wear and tear on the legs. And by the time we're halfway up, this peloton is going to start shrinking. Probably pretty quick. So, no damage to my guys yet. But in the meantime, riders are going to have to go back and get water. And there's no good point to do it. They're just going to have to do it while climbing. EF Education taking up the reins at the moment. The lead cut back another little bit, another 20 seconds or so, and it is slowly coming down right now. Just about a second at a time here. maybe 1 second per kilometer. So it's not like there's a massive difference, but you can already see them ahead, and their lead is now down to 3 minutes. And it's time for water. Cohen is the sacrificial lamb, so we'll send him back. It would be Veldeman. Veldeman is technically the race leader, so I'm not protecting Veldeman. He's not going to win the overall race. But what I have done for him as a favor in honor of his Stage 1 victory and yellow jersey wearing situation is he's the one who is riding solo. So instead of sacrificing him to protect the others, he's going to have a little more time and ability to ride by himself without protection, but without having to protect. Alright, well, the gap's down to 2:12 now, so again, we're slowly pulling them back, and we're not even halfway up yet. I mean, we're over 40%, yes, but we're not even halfway up yet, and we still have 110k to go. And then, even though things mostly flatten out to the end, it's still not, flat. There's still a good bit of undulation once we do get to the top of this climb. And then, of course, you've got those 2 categorized climbs immediately after we get to the top. You got that little downhill saddle section, but then you go up, and then you go up, and there's no respite, there's no break, there's no chance to recover in this stage. So a stage doesn't look like much, but there's a lot more to it than you would think initially. Cohen's starting to feel it. Swerble, DeVos starting to feel it a little. Pace is picking up apparently. Peloton's starting to shrink. Breakaway starting to shrink. It's down to 9. Gap's down to 1:12. And it's all starting to come back together. We are approaching the top though, so it hasn't been that bad yet, but now it's really starting to shrink, and quickly. We're down every few seconds. There's a few more riders falling out the back. 74 now. 6 left on the front, and we've nearly caught them. And the pace, you can see it's picking up again. Cohen's done. Veldeman, sorry buddy, but you are going to get sacrificed here for Osorio. And we'll ride with Cohen, see, oh, look how small this group is. That's really only 30 riders that are left, really, maybe 40 that are left in contention, because there's more that are about to come off the back. It's 49 right now, but there's only about 40 riding strong. Or 62. That group behind us remakes contact, including Cohen. Oh, we leveled off a bit, that's why. But there's a good 20 riders here that are really just hanging on. And once we go uphill again here in just a moment, there you go, it's starting to ramp back up to 3 degrees, 6 degrees almost. We're going to lose quite a few again. But they might hang around, most of them, till that category 2 climb. 1 rider left off the front. They've got a minute, so suddenly 1 rider's not a threat. But in a way they are, aren't they? Now's a good time to send somebody back, though we're not yet at our 60k mark. Let's send Veldeman. DeVos. We'll send DeVos. It should be Veldeman. 65 chasing 1, but he's got a 2-minute lead. It's going to be hard to catch him. There's plenty of time, though. It's still 70k. 1 rider going solo for 70k on the flat mostly. No, okay, he won't last. He won't last. It's okay. 228. We are riding very slow right now, though. All right, now we're gonna. Oh, Cohen's recovered. These guys recovered. Ooh. Right, we're starting to see a little attack. This is new breakaway riders. These aren't guys going for the win. Yeah, there's Khalid trying to take off again. So that's how slow we're going, is breakaway riders have recovered, stayed in the group, and they're going after those KOM points that they were after in the first place. I'm not interested in the KOM, so it's okay. Swervel's actually second in that contest right now. Veldeman is 4th. DeVos, Kanji, they're all up there because of that last stage. But the gap's already back down to a minute, so.
Team managers mustn't appreciate the fact that there is a breakaway, given that the pack has increased its speed.
Alright, here we go again. Here comes the attack again. Same guys. Same guys fading. Same two making it over the top first. And now we're into the flat. We do have a sprint point coming up here, but I'm sure it's going to be attacked by sprinter types. And yet, there you go. There are some attacking at the front, so that's okay. I won't take the 3 seconds here. Not worth the effort. And you can see there is damage to Swerble and Cohen and Veldeman a little bit less so. DeVos a bit. 2 riders off the front now. And we've pulled them back. They just couldn't handle the uphill slope here. So 78 in the peloton. It's actually been growing. And again, this is another one of those days where there's plenty of riders here. There's no reason to waste our energy. We can go for the stage victory at the end with, I suppose, Veldeman again, as he is that strongest sprinter. And we can sacrifice Cohen and DeVos and Swerble in that effort, and then everybody else just follow and get there safely to the end as the peloton just growing and growing. Though there are riders still just now going over the second categorized climb who may be eliminated from this race. Okay, we're down to 8K. I think it's about time I do something here. Alright, so 99s. We're going to take the big 3 and protect them at the back. They're not going to be a part of this sprint. They're just going to get a free ride. Now, of these 3, who's going to give us a decent lead out? Not really anybody. Cohen's got a little bit of pace. DeVos is okay on the flat. Swerble's just terrible, so he'll go first. Cohen's a little bit of pace, followed by DeVos. Swerble first, and Swerble immediately step it up, buddy. Bring it forward. 7K to go. Speed it up a little bit. Everybody's gel. Oh, there is a little uphill here.
A rider is flat on the road. 5 kilometers remaining.
This is doing a little bit of damage to the field, but with less than 5K, I would imagine everybody's going to be essentially on the same time here. Cohen, don't you dare. Cohen, get out of the way. There you go. Let Veldeman go. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. Cohen, you're just going to suddenly drop off the pace. Let's let those 3 go win the stage. Create a gap, huh? Only 1 rider in tow. Uh-huh. Swerble, 99. There you go. DeVos, give him a sprint.
There we go.
4 riders, 25 seconds ahead. Cohen, you need to be now sprinting. Down to 700 meters. That is enough. Veldeman to make it 2 from 2. Over the number 1 guy, Solomon.
A great victory. He really handled the
And Veldeman. 2 from 2 on the stages. Little gap there. I don't think time gaps will be given, but it could. that would take those few seconds lost from my main guys, as Solomon was the only one who was up there with them. And it did get us a stage win. I'm hoping there isn't a time gap. I don't care that Veldeman and DeVos would have gained a few seconds because they're going to lose it later. But we'll stick around to see if it's given. We're already past the time cutoff, and there's still a few riders that are not even close to the finish. There's 2, there's 3 in, 4 in. So quite a few eliminated riders. 5, 6, 9 riders coming in after the time cutoff. That thins the field out a bit. No time gap given. 81 riders in all in that final group. The bigger news, though, is these teams losing these guys. Now, none of these are big teams, so it's not a big deal that they are dropped, but it thins the field out a little bit. It's fewer guys to put in the break. It's fewer guys to mount some sort of challenge. You thin the other teams out, more of them just sit in the peloton and then get dropped out the back end instead of creating massive breakaway groups like we had in this one. So Veldeman now leads by 14 seconds. Solomon picks up a little time. Hamilton's there. Solomon is... Oh, that's the contender. Okay, Solomon is the contender. So him getting up to second was not good, but that's okay. Hamilton is the main guy he's up against, and they are level on time, starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Conchi Osorio, our other 2 main guys, still there, still at 31. So I know this is a little bit of a shorter episode today, but we're going to be finishing up the Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah next time. Main reason for that, I've been so busy. I think you've already heard by this point as to what has made me so busy. But I've had a lot on my plate the last couple of weeks, and I just do not have the time to sit through as long of a recording session as normal, or editing as long of videos as normal. So next week, though, everything should be back to normal on that. I'm finally getting caught up there or thereabouts. But that's a great start to the Tour of Utah with 2 straight wins, stage wins, and our leader in himself having already picked up a little bit of time. But with all of our signings done, we're still just 21st, and other riders obviously are still out there and available. And while we're solidly a 3.5-star team, it looks like it's going to take us hitting roughly a 4-star team before we would be a World Tour, meaning, even though it's last season anyway for this series, it looks like we are not going anywhere. We would still be Continental Pro again next year, and that's really coming down to budget. All in all, we're having a good season. It's all good. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye for now.